do not make 30 million. I do not make 25 million. I don't make 20 million a year. How is she going to survive, you know? And
Are we going to talk about Ruben's finances?
it's like she has to give an awful lot of that for taxes too, because I'm pretty sure she.
So are you saying they make that much money? Because if they pay her,
how is she going to survive? You know, and it's like she has to give an awful lot of that for taxes too, because I'm pretty sure she.
So are you saying they make that much money? Because if they pay her that,
yeah,
they have to at least be making that.
Well,
to justify. Where's the money?
If we were to take away the pharmaceutical ad money, that might be a bit different proposition.
How much money does MSNBC make from pharmaceutical advertising as opposed to any other kind of advertising? What? Okay.
Right? I mean, during COVID, you would literally have Fauci on for an hour on Meet the Press, and then it would go to commercial, and it would say, brought to you by Pfizer. And it's like, wait, what? The company...
Thank you for that cut in here. Thank you. So important. Thank you.
That this guy was just shilling for is sponsoring the news right now. So one of the reasons that this hasn't fully shifted yet, like you guys are obviously in a similar business that I'm in here.
What kind of ads does Fox News run? Hello? What kind of ads do you run, Lil Gup? Who's your sponsors besides the Kremlin?
Is that industries don't just die overnight, right? Like the dinosaurs, they're sinking in the La Brea tar pits, but they don't just sink immediately. It takes some time for them to sink. So there's an entire world that exists around ad sales and corporate structure of the dying mainstream media that hasn't fully moved over. If I was being paid per view in any way of parity that she's getting paid per view, I'd be making a shit ton more than her.
Like, come on. Why are people allowed to say bad business shit like this? It's a finance podcast. YouTube is free to watch. You're not getting paid the same per view as you will on cable news. Also, there's a whole difference in terms of like licensing agreements, the distribution. There's a whole ass network built out. Like, it's not even remotely comparable. Like a cable TV viewer versus like a random YouTube, like 2-minute video viewer. Like this is
It's fine.
Wait, what? Destiny, this video is from 2 days ago on Dave Rubin's channel.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everyone. My Christmas gift to you is no politics.
Today I'm just reacting to 4 of my favorite scenes in Christmas movies. Here we go.
Yeah, for this weekend, I'll see what I can do. I'm not going to charge you. Just bring them by and I'll see what I can do.
Excuse me. I'm here to see a Walter Hobbs. I'm Buddy the Elf.
You look hilarious.
And hello, I'd like to know your thoughts. Christmas Vacation is my favorite Christmas movie. I'd like to know I got a thumbs up from Connor. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, here's number 4. It is it's just perfect. Did you see the new one there? The new one. It was a very Christmas story or something like that.
You do realize that we can't serve liquor at the party.
Yeah, I know. Damn it. Stupid corporate wet blankets.
Like God story, prequel, something. Merry Christmas, everybody. The deep state strikes back with a clear message to create nuclear war as Trump transitions into office. It's confirmed NATO fires missiles into Russian territory, forcing Putin to the brink of nuclear war. We haven't been this close to World War III since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and folks, Putin does not mess around. If global disaster strikes, are you prepared? 90% of medications come from overseas. You need to cover the basis for your family's medical needs and prepare for any type of medical catastrophe. And the wellness company's emergency kits are your best defense against the unexpected. Packed with life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, amoxicillin, and more. These kits combat bacterial infections, staph, bite wounds, UTIs, strep throat, and respiratory illnesses. Each kit includes their medical board-approved guidebook that walks you through how to treat different emergency scenarios. Ordering your prescription emergency kit is easy and fully digital. Answer a couple questions after checkout, and your kit is delivered to your front door. Don't wait until a disaster strikes. Act now by heading over to twc.health/Ruben and use code Ruben to save up to $60 off plus free shipping.
Right to jail. Like, right to jail. Right to jail. You go right to jail. That's it. Like, seriously? It can't be this stupid. It can't be this stupid.
They're sinking in the La Brea. Using the symbol 4 is sponsoring the To You by Pfizer. And it's literally have Fauci on for an hour on Meet the Press, and then it would go to commercial, and it would say, brought to you by Pfizer. And it's like, wait, what? The company that this guy was just shilling for is sponsoring the news right now? Fires missiles into Russian territory, forcing Putin to the brink of nuclear war. We haven't been this close to World War III since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and folks, Putin does not mess around. If global disaster strikes, are you prepared? 90% of medications come from overseas. You need to cover the basis for your family's medical needs and prepare for any type of medical catastrophe. And the wellness company's emergency kits are your best defense against the unexpected. Packed with life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, amoxicillin, and more. These kits combat bacterial infections, staph, bite wounds, UTIs, strep throat, and respiratory illnesses. Each kit includes their medical board-approved guidebook that walks you through how to treat different emergency scenarios. Ordering your prescription emergency kit is easy and fully digital. Answer a couple questions after checkout, and your kit is delivered to your front door. Don't wait until a disaster strikes. Act now by heading over to twc.health/Ruben and use code Ruben to save up to $60 off plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/Ruben and use code Ruben to save up to $60 off plus free shipping. Kits available only in the US of A.
Like, how shameless. What is ivermectin? Fucking, oh God. What do you call, is iridium a real thing, or is this in Stardew Valley, a fake material? Oh no, is it iodine? What do you take for radiation? Potassium iodine. Bro, we're only an hour and how can one interview? This is like a Tim Pool thing. I feel like you could spend days going through all of these types of shows. Like, this is an impressive amount of lies packed into a single thing. Like, an impressive amount of lies. Like, almost every single statement is a lie. It's insane.
So one of the reasons that this hasn't fully shifted yet, like you guys are obviously in a similar business that I'm in here, is that industries don't just die overnight, right? Like the dinosaurs, they're sinking in the La Brea tar pits, but they don't just sink immediately. It takes some time for them to sink. So there's an entire world that exists around ad sales and corporate structure of the dying mainstream media that hasn't fully moved over. If I was being paid per view in any way of parity that she's getting paid per view, I'd be making a shit ton more than her. It's fine. I'm not complaining about it, but it just kind of is what it is. But I would also say this, when you realize that that woman has been getting $30 million a year, and then you were to go through the laundry list of things that she got wrong. Did you ever see that 5-minute thing?
Taking iodine before a nuke helps prevent thyroid issues due to the thyroid taking up the non-radioactive iodine instead of the radioactive shit from the nuke. Oh, makes sense. Okay.
that she did talking about the vaccine, saying, I mean, she did the exact same thing Biden did. You will not get COVID. You will not transmit COVID. This is the only way out of COVID.
Are those
Lie.
her
Well,
opinions though, or is she told, hey, here's a script, we need you to say these bullet points?
I don't know.
They need the f-stop needs to be higher on this. The aperture needs to be closed. Notice how he's out of focus on the right and he's not on the
This is
left.
the only way out of COVID.
Are those
Lie.
F-stop is too small. That's what's going on here, by the way. I bet Dave Rubin set the camera, the shot of himself.
Are those her opinions though, or is she told, hey, here's a script, we need you to say these bullet points?
I don't know. What would you say for $30 million a year? That's the question.
Oh my God. What would you do? Would you promote ivermectin and Z-Pack? And it doesn't even make sense. Also, that sponsor doesn't even fucking make sense. Wait, hold on.
Oh!
Was he even promoting shit that would help you through like a nuclear holocaust? Or was it literally just COVID, like fake drugs?
Needs and prepare for any type of medical catastrophe. And the wellness company's emergency kits are your best defense against the unexpected. Packed with life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pack, amoxicillin, and more. These kits combat bacterial infections, staph, bite wounds, UTIs, strep throat, and respiratory illnesses. Each kit includes their medical board-approved guidebook that walks you.
Wait, are you allowed to buy this shit without a prescription? I don't think you can just buy Z-Pack and amoxicillin without a prescription, no? I thought that antibiotics were controlled substances. Do you need prescription for amoxicillin? Yes. For Z-Pack is just shorthand for azithromycin, right? Azithromycin. Yes. Wait, how are you even? Is this like a online? Is this an online prescription thing?
Wounds, UTIs, strep throat.
That was for the UK. Well, why is there an American flag?
Overseas. You need to cover the bases for your family's medical needs and prepare for any type of medical catastrophe. And the wellness company's emergency kits are your best defense against the unexpected. Packed with life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pack, amoxicillin, and more. These kits combat bacterial infections.
It's every bullshit COVID drug. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, generic Z-Pack. These are all the big the contagion kit. Oh my God. No, Google gave you the UK answer. Oh, well, KKMD, you tell me.
Infection, staph, bite wounds, UTI.
Included in your kit. I feel like I heard them talk about doxycycline as well. I don't remember why though. Legit script certified.
Strep throat and respiratory illnesses. Each kit includes their medical board-approved guidebook that walks you through how to treat different emergency scenarios. Ordering your prescription emergency kit is easy and fully digital. Answer a couple questions after checkout, and your kit is delivered to your front door. Don't wait until a disaster strikes. Act now by heading over to twc.health/Rubin and use code Rubin to save up to $60 off plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health.
Healthcare without the propaganda. This is evil shit, guys. This is actually evil shit. Dave Rubin fans saved nearly $45 at checkout. Excuse me, I thought it was $60 at checkout. Excuse me. Okay, let's say that I want the with proven treatments. That means nothing. Okay, thanks. All right. Add to cart. Check out now. There's no way you can buy this shit without. I must have to prove a prescription or something, right? It can't be this easy. Wait, I'm so confused right now. Buy it. Aren't all of these over the counter? I don't think generally you can buy over the counter antibiotics because we've had an issue in the US with overprescribing, or you might be able to buy like penicillin or something. I don't even know what the fuck. Prescriptions are administered at the sole discretion of the wellness company licensed provider reviewing your health intake form. In the event of an allergy or other medical conditions that are a contraindication for medication, it shall be omitted from the kit without substitution. Available to U.S. residents only. Wait, what? So you just do a health intake form and they just ship you antibiotics? Like, talk about pharmacy shopping. This isn't like, not only is this cringe and unethical because you're abusing retards for money, but it's also like medically dangerous, right? How many people order this shit and like take a few antibiotic pills and like that's it? Just as a quick bullshit or whatever. The problem with antibiotics is that if you take them, if you're prescribed like a full regimen of antibiotics, if you only take a few of them until symptoms abate and then you feel better, the issue is that because of the way that random mutation works and evolution and all that cringe bullshit, the bacteria that are left after taking just a few antibiotics are likelier to survive with some resistance to those antibiotics, and they breed more and more and more, and then they make super ultra fucking brain rape bacteria in the future. So when you're talking about like bacterial resistance to antibiotics, it's because of a lot of overprescription of antibiotics, and it's because of people that don't finish their full course of antibiotics, right? Like what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, except times 1,000 when talking about bacteria. Jesus Christ, bro. Sorry. Okay. What a disgusting, subhuman fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, that's the question.
I don't know. When it comes to being a news anchor, who do we talk to about this? Of like, do you get to say your own opinions, or do they give you points?
I would say it's a
Was it
little.
Don Lemon? Was it? Yeah, I think it was Don Lemon.
Good old Don Lemon.
Do you get to say your own opinions, or do they give you points?
I would say it's a
Was it
little.
Don Lemon? Was it? Yeah, I think it was Don Lemon.
Good old Don Lemon. Yeah. I would say there is a reason they are paid to be in
Don
the
Lemon
news
said
anchor.
what?
These bullet points.
I don't know. What would you say for $30 million a year? That's the question. That's the question.
I don't know. When it comes to being a news anchor, who do we talk to about this? Of like, do you get to say your own opinions, or do they give you points?
I would say it's a
Was it
little.
Don Lemon? Was it? Yeah, I think it was Don Lemon.
Good old Don Lemon. Yeah. I would say there is a reason they are paid to be.
What did Don Lemon say? Don Lemon said that they give you bullet points to say? What? Fuck, who was that interview with? Was that with the iced coffee hour?
Was it? Yeah, I think it was Don Lemon.
Or is this with David?
Good old Don
Rubin?
Lemon. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what are they even referencing here? Confronting Don Lemon on a failed Elon Musk interview. Oh, nice. So they were confrontational.
The president It's not just kind of unsub.
Do you think they use the term?
I agree.
Do you know why you were fired from CNN?
Not really. I don't.
They didn't give you any reason.
They don't have to, but again, that's not something that I would like to discuss.
Yeah.
But no, I will just tell you how let me tell you this, how the contracts work in media. They can let you go whenever you want when you're contracted. They can play you or pay you. And so they can come to you at any point and say, this isn't working for us. We want to take you off the air, but they've got to pay you for the extent of your contract. That's kind of it. If they want to move the network in a different direction or what have you, then they can just let you go.
Would CNN ever compel you to cover certain things in like a more indirect way? Would you feel pressured to have a certain opinion or to cover certain topics?
Never.
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 And
Oh! Wait, maybe he'll say something more. Hold on.
also, Tucker Carlson happened to be fired on the exact same day, which is pretty crazy.
You think that was coincidence?
There's theories online.
It's
somehow.
weird. You know, there's 365 days, a week, which is opinion or to cover. CNN ever
Kind of it. If they want to move the network in a different direction or what have you, then they can just let you go.
Would CNN ever compel you to cover certain things in like a more indirect way? Would you feel pressured to have a certain opinion or to cover certain topics?
Never.
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 And also,
Are those
Lie.
her
Well-
opinions though, or is she told, hey, here's a script. We need you to say these bullet points?
I don't know. What would you say for $30 million a year? That's the question. That's the question.
I don't know. When it comes to being a news anchor, who do we talk to about this? Of like, do you get to say your own opinions, or do they give you points?
I would say it's a
was it
little.
Don Lemon?
Was it? Yeah, I think it was Don Lemon.
Good old
we
John
spoke to
Lemon.
Don
Yeah. I would say there is a reason they are paid to be in those chairs, and that is the reason. I could never be as bad at my job doing a news show every day as Joe Scarborough is at his show every day. I could never be that. I couldn't live with myself, number one. But I
Like, you have an interesting dynamic set up here because you've talked to somebody who works in mainstream media, Don Lemon, who gave you a contradictory answer to Dave Rubin, who doesn't work in mainstream media, who's more so why not give Lemon's perspective here and offer for Rubin to counter it? Why not? Like, why not actually bring up?
I think people would tune out. And by the way, that's what's happening now. Why is it that 2 weeks after the election, suddenly Comcast is like, we're going to sell MSNBC? If the election had gone the other way and the propaganda worked, they wouldn't be selling MSNBC.
Wow, if a news station was more popular because of how an election turns out or not, then they'll keep it. But if it's not popular or profitable, then they sell. Like, what are we even trying to prove here? What is the argument you think you're making? You're cooking on a stove that's not even plugged in. Like, what are you talking about?
They're selling MSNBC because they're like, oh shit, we've been paying these people this crazy amount of money and the propaganda is not even working. CNN is
Oh my, they're buying propaganda, but it's not even working. Maybe they just don't want to invest in it because it's not profitable anymore. Like, think about the implication here. Is Comcast a Comcast stock? Is this large enough to be like a publicly traded company? So all of the investors in Comcast, the board of directors and everybody else is like, now we know that this is like a mega unpopular news station, but we're just going to go ahead and pour all of our money into doing propaganda and, fuck the shareholders, fuck our investments, fuck everything. Like, what are we talking about?
like, oh shit, we've been paying these people this crazy amount of money and the propaganda is not even working. CNN they've just announced that they're going to fire a bunch of their on-air talent. It's like, why would you fire these people just after an election? Oh, they're not really good at whatever it is you put them out there to do. So I'm quite enthused that this is happening. But if you really think about it, you're basically asking, are there...
Also, remember, whenever Republicans say mainstream media, or whenever conservatives, no Republicans, when they say mainstream media, that's code word for liberal media. Always. It's always. Because every single time they bring up mainstream media, they are only criticizing CNN, MSNBC. It's the only thing that they're never bringing up Fox News, even though it is the largest mainstream media in the United States of America and has been for years. Isn't that strange that the largest mainstream media broadcast station is somehow always strategically absent from every conversation about the mainstream media? Like, isn't that strange that we're never talking about Fox News, the largest mainstream media cable news television station, that also the largest defamation payout in the history, settlement in the history of all of defamation payouts, by the way, for lying intentionally to people for propaganda purposes to get somebody elected, which is what they're talking about, strangely enough.
Her intentions good? Did they not really did Rachel Maddow really know what she was saying? Was she paid to say it? Did she write the script? I don't know what the exact answer. Like, I don't know what's in her heart. I don't know exactly what's in the mind of the producer, but I do know that she works at a giant corporation and she put out information that was exactly the same as all the corporations wanted, and that was completely different than what was happening online. And that thing is the thing that's now flipped. And poor Rachel will only get $25 million to do that job.
So when you're watching media like that, how do you know what's truthful and what's not? Like, how do you really get down to the?
Oh my God. Oh, like, who's listening to this slop? Who's listening to this? Who's watching this? And it's like, oh, thank God. Yes, Rubin, who couldn't even tell that he was getting paid $5 million from Russia for 1 year. Like, I'm gonna take this guy's word for how to figure out what's true and what's not true. The best response to Elizabeth Warren's "ha ha ha," the Doge already has 2 people to do the job of 1, real efficient, with some extra ply. You're just jealous that Vivek is a real Indian. I can't tell if this is an incredibly clever insult or an incredibly retarded insult.
facts.
It's very-
It seems like
it's
you watch
very-
Fox and they're like, this is right.
Yeah.
You watch MSNBC and they say, this is right.
Well, I
You
would
go online,
largely.
it's like,
Oh,
facts.
wait.
It's very.
Uh-oh. Fox News.
Yeah.
brought
So
up.
when you're watching media like that, how do you know
Uh-oh.
what's truthful and what's not? Like, how do you really get down to the facts?
It's very-
It seems like
it's
you watch
very-
Fox and they're like, this is right.
Yeah.
You watch MSNBC and they say, this is right.
Well,
You
I
go
would
online,
largely-
it's like, this is right.
Yeah.
Is he does he have to quickly qualify that he agrees with most of what Fox says? Because the interesting follow-up here that neither of these guys will ask, the interesting follow-up, I'm just curious, you disagree a lot. You brought up CNN, you brought up MSNBC, you say you disagree with mainstream media. What do you disagree about from Fox News? What has Fox said that you disagree with? Just curious.
It's almost impossible, but I would say if you have just like a little bit of skepticism with most things, you won't fall for most of it. So I'm very, very proud of my track record on.
What a boring answer. This is how you can tell also that somebody's never critically thought about media analysis before, right? Anytime somebody's like, how do you protect yourself from misinformation? Like, just be skeptical. That's not a real answer, dog. That doesn't mean anything. What do you mean? Be skeptical. Everybody's somewhat skeptical about everything. That's not a real answer. That tells me that you've never in your life thought about protecting yourself from misinformation. You don't know how to tell a good source from a bad source. You don't know how to do research. You don't even have any like cute little protective mechanisms for your mind to figure out like if you're being lied to or not. You have nothing. Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
You watch MSNBC and they say, this is right.
Well,
You
I
go
would
online,
largely-
it's like, this is right.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, but I would say if you have just like a little bit of skepticism with most things, you won't fall for most of it. So I'm very, very proud of my track record on most of the issues. I didn't.
like taking $5 million for a fucking low view show that you sold to a Russian propaganda shell company. That's what you're proud of?
Fall for the Russia hoax. I didn't fall for the very fine people hoax. I didn't fall for the COVID
Notice how every single thing is about Trump on his side, and every single thing he would side with Fox News on.
nonsense or some of the other things that I mentioned. When you remember the Jesse Smollett story, it was like somehow why is it that AOC and Kamala within 5 minutes had both tweeted this proves white supremacy in America and black people are under assault and everything else, and the entire thing turned out to be a hoax. And yet when I saw the story come across, I was like, I don't know, something seems a little fishy about this. This seems a little bizarre. They found him in the Subway sandwich and there was a noose and they yelled, "This is Trump country." I was like, I don't know, this just doesn't sound right. And so I think just going in with a little.
Do you think that he had that same skepticism when that video? I'm curious. I don't know his Twitter account. Well, first of all, he was wrong about the Pelosi thing, but that's okay because he played into the memes about that being fake. Do you think he was skeptical when that one video went around of those two evil black Americans with the do-rags and the guns hanging out of their jeans, kicking the poor MAGA white girl on the ground, saying "fuck MAGA" and "fuck Trump supporters"?
Little bit of skepticism is probably your best armor against the bullshit. It's not perfect. We're all going to fall for different things and be duped. You know, I'm not particularly good at predicting elections. I backed DeSantis in the primary. I thought we were ready for a wholesale change. So I would say I missed that one in the sense that one of my main fears about Trump was that he wasn't going to be able to put himself around the right people.
What a stupid, that wasn't even a good failed prediction. There's nothing wrong with backing somebody. That doesn't mean you're predicting them to win. I backed Kamala, but I always knew it was going to be a close election. Like I never thought they should win 100%. You can back somebody and not think they're going to win. That's different. Those are two totally different things.
Well, that I'm very happy. I'll have a full mea culpa on that. I'm very happy that I turned out to be wrong. And ironically, the whole time I was calling for people like Tulsi and RFK to come over to the Republican side of things. But I think there's a fundamental difference being we could all be wrong about like who's going to win the election.
Calling for people to come over is not predicting things. You're not even talking about the same thing anymore. Like, what do you...
Will there be a red wave versus just do you directionally get most of what's happening right, or are you just wildly wrong on most of it? And if you're watching people or listening to podcasts that are wildly wrong on most of it, you're probably watching the wrong shows.
What have you predicted against Donald Trump?
But it's tough. It's almost an impossible question to answer, and it's just going to get harder and harder.
How has the whole Tenet Media thing shifted your perspective on like how you
This, by the way, is a 4-minute segment on probably at least 70 to 80% of the money that this fucker made last year. And this is a 4-minute segment. Let's see how he addresses this. I love how they phrase this as gently as possible. For Don Lemon, it was, do they give you talking points that you have to adhere to? And for Dave Rubin, it's, how did the Tenet Media thing kind of like change your, how did it kind of like change your views on things a little bit? Like, did it like make you think, did it make you look at like the Tenet Media's? Like,
To answer, and it's just going to get harder and harder.
How has the whole Tenet Media thing shifted your perspective on like how you approach just information or what you're told or coming to your own conclusions on things?
You know, I did a 10-minute or 15-minute interview with Megyn Kelly about it, and I basically said that was the last time I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
But I would give you like 30 seconds of Lauren Chen, who was running Tenet. I've known her for a decade. I talked to Tim Pool about it and Benny Johnson and some of the other guys, and I asked for more information about who the backers are. I spoke to someone on Zoom who now it's unclear who I spoke to, but that was through Lauren. And I would say you just need to be as skeptical. It's actually the exact same answer I just gave you. You should be as skeptical even when you know someone for a decade, and you ask for information, and you ask for resumes, and you speak to someone that you might be told is a benefactor, and else you should just be as skeptical as possible. But I will also say, in no way did that affect my content at all, period, zero, nor was I asked to, which was the bizarre part of it. But
like you didn't need, so your skepticism completely and utterly failed you there. So then it sounds like that's not a good tool then to analyze environments, right? You're telling me that you had a friend of 10 years lie to you about something. Maybe then there are other tools that you could have applied. So for instance, if somebody comes to you with a business deal and the money that they're offering is far greater than any other equivalent offers. Maybe that could be a thing that makes you a little bit skeptical. When they have no history of doing business in the industry, maybe that could make you a little bit skeptical. When you compare your contract to the contracts that other people were offered, maybe that would make you a little, within the same org, maybe that could make you a little bit skeptical. Like, what do you mean? There's a million ways from a business perspective that you can be skeptical about this. He didn't name any of them. He said, well, I knew Lauren Chen for 10 years.
I would rather leave it at that.
I looked into it
And then he doesn't. Nice. Good one. Wow.
a pretty good amount, and I read the indictment and everything.
Yeah.
And it seemed, and I watched a ton of media too, from people on the left, people on the right. Like,
Sure.
Oh my God, he's going to carry water so hard for him. I think we might even listen to some of this. I saw it and I didn't see you doing anything wrong at all.
I know David Pakman was talking about it. Sam Cedar was talking about it. I watched a Legal Eagle video on it, which I thought was really good. And it truly did seem like you had no idea. And
Well, that's the thing. Even the DOJ sent me an email a few days later saying that we believe you're the victim of a crime here. I wasn't accused of anything. Actually, the funny part about it was, and I said this to Megan, so it's worth repeating if you guys want to talk about it. The funny thing is, I'm so used to reading dishonest things about myself. If the New York Times ever writes about me as dishonest, or if any, all these, or whatever it is, always something dishonest, or they misquote something, or they take a word not out, or something like that. When I read the indictment, I was like,
They take the word not out? That's not a misquote. That would just be an egregious lie. Give an example of that.
or whatever it is, always something dishonest, or they misquote something, or they take the word not out, or something like that. When I read the indictment, I was like, oh, I'm commentator number one. I figured that out very quickly. And I was like, this is all true. I did ask who the backer is, and I did ask for a resume, and I did ask to speak to somebody, and I did make sure they'd have no control over my content, and a series of other things. So it was very bizarre to suddenly be in a controversy where I was like, oh, the thing I'm being accused, I'm not even being accused of anything. I'm the victim in this thing, and the DOJ is doing the right thing. Yeah, that was like the craziest part for
the
me.
thing,
Yeah.
people are going to.
Oh, so when the DOJ sides with me, they're doing the right thing. But when the DOJ is against me or against somebody else, then they're doing the wrong thing. Also, not the DOJ. This is Biden's DOJ. Remember that. Because if this was Trump's DOJ, you would be hearing endless slurping of how great it was that Donald Trump's Department of Justice was able to investigate these Russian people and they didn't hold any of these poor, innocent little content creators accountable. And how is it that Biden's DOJ, the same ultra corrupt DOJ that went after Trump for all these horrendous bullshit charges around Russiagate, by the way, why are they treating you fairly? How is this not a question that we can spend a whole hour on that? So you think that Russiagate was all a hoax and that Biden is controlling the DOJ and sending them after political enemies? Wouldn't this be the perfect time for him to go after you? You took $5 million, right? It was $5 million in Russian money. What percentage of your revenue would you say that was of your business last year? Oh, 80%? Wow, that's a lot. And you're saying it didn't affect you at all? That's hard to believe, but okay. Isn't it strange that Biden's DOJ didn't go after you harder since you've accused them of being Russiagate or Russiagate hoax obsessive people and that they're always persecuting political enemies? Why didn't they go after you harder? This would be a good time for introspection. This would be a good question to ask for a critical analysis, but
see the amount of money you're getting paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in this contract, and they're just gonna be like, you can't be a victim while you're making that amount of money at the same time. That I feel
Well, I'm not saying I'm a victim.